Thank you. So, Erica Porter, we're going to start with you. So, you get a cancer diagnosis, but you had a dynamic life prior to that, correct? You've done something that's pretty interesting, and when you hear what she did prior to this, it's going to be something a little different.
Well, I'm still doing it.
You're still doing it?
I mean, cancer may stop a lot of people. It doesn't stop me. And so I've been in the health and wellness industry for far too many years. But I am also a professional wrestler. I am Jungle Girl. You can Google me. You can find it. So I work with the organization WOW Women of Wrestling, which it's really been a wild ride. It's been amazing. And I think in part, all of my life's journey really led me to this place. I don't know who better to start a foundation. I want to get into also what endorphasm is, because some people hear the name. You said you were a little uncomfortable saying it, which
I just couldn't put it all together.
Oh, yes, you could. Yes, you could. Don't be a prude. It's fine. So endorphasm is the point during physical exertion that you feel all things are possible. So as a young woman at 24 years old, I had taken a group fitness class for the first time and had experienced something like I'd never experienced. And what that was in that moment was the first time that I didn't think about what my body looked like. I didn't think about what I needed to cook. I didn't think about what I had to do the next week. I was fully present in the moment, and I was fully aware of what my body was capable of doing. And I went home and I expressed, I'm like, I don't know what just happened to me, but whatever that was, I want to experience it for the rest of my life, and I want other people to experience it for the rest of their lives. So I have a group fitness studio. It's called Endorphasm. It is the feeling. And so when I received my diagnosis and realized that, oncologists and the doctors do great work at treating the disease, we really are not doing great work at treating the individual. And you've got to give something to the patient that empowers them. And there is nothing more empowering than movement. And not only does it empower the patient, but it also helps through treatment. It helps beyond. I am not curable, but I am treatable. I am thriving, and I'm thriving because of the endorphasm. So the goal is to give every person that has encountered a diagnosis and their families an opportunity to move through cancer that empowers them and it gives them hope.
And I'm just going to add, because I've got a vantage point back here of the back of her shirt, which we're not going to show, but if you want to know how Erica feels about cancer, you have to meet her in person and ask her to turn around, because I love it. It's awesome. So.
But it's, one of the things we always talk about is how people, when you get some devastating news, how do you come back from it, or you fight through it? And when I met you, I'm like, okay, I got to talk to her, because that's what we do. We talk to interesting people. One of my ESPN Richmond, part of the Mike King's Radio Network. I'd like to thank Chris Mayfield, who's here with us, Jimmy Comer, Chef Michelle Wilson. They're folks who help us stay on the air so we can talk to cool folks like you guys. So we're going to go over to Andrew with the Ford Foundation. A lot of times people don't understand the cost of daycare, and that is a real burden. Let's touch on that for a moment and how that helps lift people out of dire straits.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. I'm really glad that you brought that up, because it's critical, and we have a child care crisis in America right now. The cost of child care for full-time for an infant or a toddler can range on average about $20,000 a year. For one child. So you think about parents that have 2, 3 children that are working, doing everything they're supposed to do, but you take out that large chunk of money and it doesn't leave a whole lot left, especially as a single parent, to cover the rest of your expenses. So this is why the work that we are doing is so critically important, because 1 out of 4 households in our country are led by single parents. So when you think about if they're making $50,000, $60,000, maybe even $70,000 a year, you're deducting $20,000 of that for one child of child care. That's a huge chunk of your income. So that is why it is so critically important that we provide this service. When I talk about the fact that we are assisting single parents that have encountered a life-altering event, I'm talking about divorce. I'm talking about extended litigation. I'm talking about being a caretaker for your family members. So many things that can fall within the category of something has happened, a pandemic, and having, a job loss. All of these things are what can affect a life-altering event and can happen to each and every one of us at any time. So it is really important that we bring this to the forefront. We're talking about it, and we are finding a way to make it possible for these families to continue to work and care for their children.
Thank you. And I also want to thank U-Turn and the Collaboratory Virginia for having us here today. If you haven't been here, you need to come. The Collaboratory is a co-working space and more. I say it's on steroids. But it'll be a collaborative initiative for nonprofits to really get together, not only to work together in the common space, but really to share ideas and benefits. And so more to come on that. But thank you all for having us here today. I want to jump to Shanae, because you guys, I met you on Mike's show. I'm doing a show.
Can I say something?
Yeah, if you take a mic, you can.
When we knew that they were going to be on, what did I call and say? Hey, you guys need to come on. Elephant has money that they're giving away. That's what friends do.
Actually, you said, come and practice, because I do a show on Monday mornings at 6 a.m., and he said, come practice, and we did one. And then I said, well, who else is next? He said, oh, the Big Bigs from Elephant. I said, oh, I'm staying, because I love them. And I've had experience working with you in my other nonprofit jobs, and you all really put your employees out there to help the community, and I just want to thank you, because I've seen the benefits of that. But when I heard what you were doing, I emailed all my clients, and many sitting around this table, saying, you have got to go online today, and you've got to fill this out. And I heard through the grapevine from one that got funded and a few others that did fill out. But tell us how that came about. And you guys have been, certainly give money, but have been so much about volunteerism, which I know you still will be. But tell us a little bit about this, because it is wonderful, and can people still apply?
Yes, absolutely. So how did it come about? We really have to give credit to our parent company, Elephant Insurance. We are connected to our parent company, the Admiral Group, which is based in the UK. We're one of their many brands here in the actual United States. There's brands all across the world, but basically our parent company, said, hey, we want to do more. We know that COVID has impacted everyone, and so they actually gave money or funding to each of their brands based on the size of the organization to pour into the community. And so that's where we were able to get the $300,000 from, and they said, hey, go and do the work. So the two conditions were very simple. One, you have to be impacted by COVID, who wasn't? And two, that it has to be employee driven, right? So the way we do that is we had our employees, hey, tell us what organizations you care about. We have a total of 130 organizations' names on our list. 60% of that came from staff. 30% came from the applications. So I know initially when we came on, we had opened up the application through August 1st, but the form is still open, so happy to invite those to apply. You can just go to elephant.com. The rest of it, how you get to is a bit long, but you can Google Helping Herd Initiative, because that is what it is under. It's a very simple form. It will not take all day to fill out, but we put it in front of our staff to vote for these organizations on a ballot, and they vote and they tell us which organizations to give to, and we work as a committee to determine how much. So super exciting.
Thank you. And I'm in awe of this group, every one of you. We're going to get to this end of the table in a second, but I want to go back to Joyce a minute. People don't necessarily know about McShin until they need to know about McShin. And I heard of you first from a friend whose child was there, or young adult child was there. And that's how I heard. So how do we get the word out? What can the community do to help you? You guys are amazing, and you are saving lives literally every second of the day. So can you tell us how we as a community can be better at helping you?
Absolutely. Just like everyone else, the pandemic did hit, but it really hit people in addiction. There was then the most overdose in 2021 than there actually in 2020 than there normally has been in the past. So a lot of relapses have happened. One thing about McShin is we did not close at all during the pandemic, where a lot of other recovery rehabs and such, they had to close down. We made sure we stayed open. How the community can help, definitely donations, because as you can imagine, the pandemic, our funding that we you know, we are a nonprofit, but we are not a CSB, so we don't actually get like the state funding and everything. So we really get just on donations or program fees is how we survive. And so donations is really important, but of course, as you can imagine, with the pandemic hitting, ours was really low. But, you know, again, we kept trucking. We did whatever we could. We put our feet on the, you know, we did like Facebook donations, which individuals can go to our Facebook page at McShin Foundation on there. Our website is www.mcshin.org, and you can read up on us. But again, the way the community can help is volunteering, you know, definitely donations, or even as far as cash donations, but also like, you know, just simple things, socks, you know, shampoo, conditioner. I mean, some small businesses come and they give us, you know, lots of lotion. You just don't really know how much all of that would mean. We have people from all sorts of backgrounds, different forms of life. We have some people that come directly from jail, some people that come directly off the streets. But we have some people that come from, you know, the upper middle class family, and they're fine and they're well-to-do. But, you know, the individuals coming from jail, directly from jail, I've had someone come in with just literally, you know, one bag, a pair of underwear, and what they wore when they got in jail, and you know. So we work with a lot of different areas in the community to try to see what we can do about getting them, you know, some clothing, getting food. You know, all of that is really important.
And I know you have several recovery homes, and I moved right when the pandemic hit, and someone was supposed to come, a nonprofit, and pick up everything we weren't taking, and of course that failed, and Honesty and McShin came through, and these adorable 3 gentlemen came to my house and took 3 truckloads of stuff back, and I don't need to know what was done with what they couldn't use, but I was so happy, to not have that, my next owners of my house didn't have to deal with it,
Right.
but you guys were there, and in a little way hopes that something like that was of no value to me anymore was hopefully helping someone else, so thank you.
Absolutely, and what we can't use, just so you guys know, we donate it on to someone else who can.
That's
We
what I
don't throw anything away.
No, I figured,
There's
I
so many
figured.
people that need something, it goes down the line.
Yeah, all those books might have been a little much, but
I love books.
we'll bounce it back down here to Vicki. What happened for you guys during the last year? What are the positive takeaways you can kind of bring? Because I want to focus on the positive.
That's a fantastic question, because, you know, when schools, you know, shut down and the city of Richmond did not go back in person, so this month, you know, at the end of the month, beginning of next month, is the first time they'll be back in schools since March of 2020. And so that was a huge, you know, when I said earlier, support educational equity, you know, when we're coming back, our students, our lower income students, our Black, brown, children of color are coming back almost a year behind in some areas. And so that is a huge issue. But, right, because I know we wanted to focus on the positives, right, did we completely disconnect in that last year and 4 months, 5 months, 6 months? No, we didn't completely disconnect. In fact, we found ways to engage with our young folks that we would have never otherwise engaged in. And so, you know, the virtual connection is something that, even though we are moving back to in-person this summer, just to brag for a second, we have had so many wonderful middle schoolers and high schoolers come engage with our We had a 32-page zine that we just released today. So that is just fantastic to see how much, you know, how much our young folks want to share, want to get their stories and experiences and perspectives out. And I can tell you from reading some of their stories that, you know, COVID, while there was a lot of setback, right, a lot of social isolation, anxiety, things like that, learning loss, it also created opportunities for our young people to create new plans, new ideas, new visions and goals of what their future, what success looks like to them. And I'll tell you now that we have the virtual connectivity when our students have to go to work after school, but they've got that time on the bus where they can, you know, connect and engage with us. Or maybe they have to go home because they've got to take care of, you know, younger siblings after school, and they can't stay back, you know, in the buildings with us to do our writing programs. We can still engage with them virtually. And that is such a huge deal because, you know, we formerly could not engage and connect with those students. If we have an open mic and our young people are not able to, you know, take the transportation or get transportation to come out, we can still have a live stream, right? We can still invite people virtually to come on and share. And actually, 2 weeks ago, we just did have a virtual open mic. So there's a lot of, even though there were, you know, lots of ups and downs, there were a lot of connectivity positives this past year.
That's great.
One of the things I want to touch on really quickly for the business owners here, we're going to start with Chris. We're going to start with Chris. So Chris, real quickly, let's talk about giving in your DNA from a business standpoint. We're going to make it quick because I'm starting to get too focused. So we'll make it quick, and then we'll go from Chris to Ashby, Chef, and then Jimmy Comer and Peter Larson, and we're going to say the lady from Elephant. We're going to say from her because they might get more money, and we're going to start asking soon.
So giving in my DNA, and I wish it was that simple. It's also a little selfish on my part because I would prefer to live in a community where we're all connected, where everybody is thriving, and our community is growing. That's the future that I want for my kids, my grandkids, maybe. And so there's a little bit of selfishness to that wish, but for those of you who don't know my story, I grew up one of two children to a single mom who had to work several part-time jobs. We were on and off public assistance. We were definitely educationally challenged, but I had some amazing opportunities. So when I graduated from high school, I joined the military, got to go to undergrad, then got to go to grad school, all on the taxpayer dime. Thank you very much. And I had a lot of mentors and people that helped me over that 24 years that I spent in the military. So, it's a combination of having experienced the rough side and also having the opportunity to be lifted up and taking that opportunity. So that is why I personally have this dedication to nonprofits, and we focus generally in three areas, and I'll make this quick, Mike. I know you're going to start giving me the slow clap. Education opportunities, food scarcity, and criminal and social justice reform are the areas that we focus on because they have touched every part of my life and my wife's life and our kids. So that's why we do what we do. That's why donating all of our profits is not a thing for us. Yeah, that's it, I guess.
Okay, for me, starting my firm at the beginning of a pandemic, I really wanted to focus on nonprofits because nonprofits, it's a large focus of my business, and I've always believed that giving back to the community, it positively impacts my business, my clients, and really being passionate about the people that I work with, the organizations that I work with as well. That goes a long way because it's amazing how many times I will sit down and meet with a client, I'll close my office door, and they're going through so many struggles or challenges where I can actually connect them to a nonprofit that can help them. And for example, like a year and a half ago, my father was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer, and it's amazing how many resources that I had available to me and to my family to help us, and it really just goes a long way. And I really believe that giving back to the community, when it comes back around for my business, it comes back tenfold. And I've always just enjoyed volunteering because it's been a huge purpose in my life, and I want to pass that along to my children as well and be value oriented. So,
Chef.
Well, I'm not a nonprofit, but I certainly do have the nonprofit spirit and the heart. And I'm really involved with these stories. I've been totally engrossed in it, so I don't even know what to question.
Okay, you give away a lot. You
Yes, I do.
sponsor a lot of things. You open your business has giving at its core.
Yes.
That's the
It
question.
really is an extension of me and how I was raised and what comes to me when it comes to people gathering and getting together over some good food, good conversation. And I see, again, it's all about the journey for me. And how can I help you experience your journey, from the point that I can give it and send you on your way. And so that it's been like that for me. And again, giving to the arts has been amazing to see some of the people that have come through the cafe and actually made it its own. You know, so it's not really my cafe anymore. It's theirs.
You're just a humble servant.
I just fry the fish.
Jimmy Comer.
So, yeah, I mean, RBI, you know, we've talked about before that we believe in if you want the community to support you, you best support the community. And that's from day one, we've been like that. You know, one of the things we're excited about this year, we'll have the second annual Christmas Under the Clock Tower, which we're inviting 20 nonprofits to come down and decorate a Christmas tree. Last year, we raised $29,000 with 10 nonprofits. This year, we'll have 20, and the goal is $75,000. And we really think it can be done. I've got a great committee that's helped me put this together. I've served on 8 boards over the last 10 years. I believe in the nonprofit system, and it's just, that's who we are. I mean, all the way down to Community First actually has Community First Foundation, and I will sit there and read the paper, watch the news, and it's right now aimed at our backyards within like a 15-mile radius of our office. I see a house fire here of a child that's sick or something. We actually send out a check. They don't know where it comes from, but we'll send out a check, and and it goes back to, I mean, we've talked about that. His name slips me, but back in the 80s and 90s, there was a postal clerk that was doing the same thing. And my name slips my mind. I hate that right now, but that was the inspiration behind that. Nobody knew what he did. He never made more than $25,000 a year, but gave over $200,000 in his lifetime. I think he actually got upset because people in Richmond wanted to know who he was. And when he was found out, they found out his wife was actually handicapped, sleeping on a mattress in the floor in a house up on Churchill that was falling apart. Community came together and said thank you. And they actually spent their last years down at Bird Lake Park, house looking at the lake. So that's a great example. What he gave came back to him 1,000 times. And that's what it should be all about.
Well, it's really hard to follow that, but Cobb Technologies, we're probably the only office technology company that has our own separate self-funded 501c3. There's nobody else who's done that in all of Virginia. So Imprint is what we do for the community and how we make a difference. Just packing backpacks for kids who don't eat on the weekends. I mean, that makes such a difference. We use our trucks to deliver all that to the actual schools. So we're making a difference in that way through Imprint, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. In the last really, truly few seconds we have, if we could just answer Mike's question. You had time to think about your homework. What gives you hope? And your organization's website or contact, and then I'll close with you, Chris. And thank you again for your support for this. We'll start over there.
This mic is just wonderful, Mike. Anyway, what gives me hope is to hear all the stories of all that you all are doing today.
So for me, what gives me hope is I've watched a lot of people around this table survive the last 18 months. I've talked to a lot of y'all over these last 18 months, and y'all are why the community is thriving, why we are having, the RVA is like the RVA. Thank y'all for your perseverance.
I think hope is a lot of things, and it can take a lot of different shapes and forms, but I'm hopeful that we're going to continue to collaborate, to work together, to really, truly become the best Richmond that we can be out of this pandemic and utilize the resources that we all have, because there's a ton just sitting right here at this table, to bring art alive, to help children, to cure cancer, to find our ephemerism. So that's what gives me hope.
You know, there's nothing worse than to feel hopeless. And so I personally feel our job as humanitarians are to provide hope to those that feel hopeless. And that is what each and every one of us is doing. We're all a piece of the puzzle. Everybody's involvement in what they're doing matters. And the collaboration, the working together, the sharing resources, that's what hope is. We're providing hope to those that feel hopeless.
What I believe hope is for someone to see that there's an opportunity for change, that there's an opportunity to be something better than what I am today. So by seeing someone else who started off just like me. So hopefulness to me is just an opportunity for a better life.
What gives me hope is that fact that no one knows the future, so who says it can't happen? Ultimately, and so we never thought we would be able to do what we're doing with the Helping Herd initiative. So we encourage people to, apply. You still can. Again, just Google Helping Herd initiative with Elephant Insurance. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll try not to sound like I'm getting ready to sing Kumbaya, but hope is definitely alive. And I think if we just keep pressing and pushing, it's a spirit. And if we understand it and stay tapped in, I think we're all going to be okay at the end. So you can reach me, find me, look me up. At my website is www.mommichelle's Cafe.
What gives me hope is I started a financial services business at the beginning of a pandemic, and I've not only survived but thrived during that time. And also during that period of time, there were so many of my nonprofit clients that were struggling financially, struggling retaining employees during that period, and now they are really thriving as well. So, and also I mentioned earlier that my father, he was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer. He had his kidney removed last year. Now he's cancer-free. So all of that gives me hope. And one word of advice as well, it's like for me, starting my own business at the beginning of a pandemic, it was the scariest professional decision that I've ever made in my life, but biggest investment you can make is in yourself and giving back to the community as well.
Really, did you see the look on Patty's face? The smile, she's just like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, Patty's covered heart, cancer, she's covered it all. She's got it.
Well, the thing that gives me hope is, I was just going to say that before Ashby said that, his father, Erica, my sister, so many cancer survivors, millions of cancer survivors. That's what gives me hope, and I know that as we go into the future, we're going to have even more cancer survivors because we're going to lick this disease, and we're going to do it with all of the help of so many people here and throughout the Richmond community. And if anyone would like to learn more about what we're doing at Massey, it's masseycancercenter.org. Thank you.
Well, everybody here has given me hope. But I also want to say, the young folks that we work with at Podium, our Podium middle schoolers, our Podium high schoolers, like I was saying earlier, getting to read their stories and hear their perspectives, right? Having one student write and say, during COVID, I was by myself a lot of the times, but I used to get in trouble in school. And now I've been able to think through what my priorities are, and now I know coming back this year, I was a freshman, but now I'm a junior. Right, so that's a huge gap of time, but I now have a plan for what I want to do, and I can actually communicate that out with my peers, with my adults, my educators, and so for me that really gives me hope. And if you want to engage, learn more about Podium, check out our publications, our programs. Again, visit www.podiumrva.org.
As a grandfather, I look at life and how that journey is so littered with landmines. And what gives me hope is the fact that there's so many people, so many organizations that are operating to help people navigate that minefield. They say with age comes wisdom. I think it also comes with an increased compulsion to share that wisdom, whether people ask for it or not. Right? So you're lucky I'm here today.
Exactly. Thank you for blessing.
Oh, yes.
So I want to, in hope, really kind of pose a question, and that is, time is the equalizer of all men and women. And the saying YOLO is flawed. You only live once. You only die once. You live every day. So my question is, are you living or dying?
Thank you, everyone, for coming. And what gives me hope is the very obvious amount of resilience that everybody around this table has exhibited in the last forget about it, since 1915 in the Black Plague. So, we've been here before. We're going to pull through this one just like we did the last time. And when the next one shows up, we'll still be here and we'll still be fighting. So to that end, some of you, for the nonprofits in the room, I host once a month a mixer, and during that business mixer, I highlight a nonprofit. So if you are a nonprofit and you would like to present your information in front of about 100 or 150 people, let me know, and I'll have you as a highlight nonprofit at one of my monthly mixers. For the business owners in the room or the business folks, drive your crowds to the mixers that are supporting these great nonprofits, because that is the connection that we need. That is the be bold in your ask. Ask them to show up. Demand that they show up and support the nonprofits. So if there's anyone in this room that I build great businesses, if there's anyone in this room that feels like they could benefit from a 2-hour strategy consulting meeting, let me know. Free to you. Always will be free to you. So that is my offer today. I encourage all the businesses here to do more than they think they are already, and let's make it happen. Thank you.
All right, on the mic with Mike King, Nanette Shore. We'd like to thank you guys for tuning in. Really quickly, Nanette, you're on the radio. How can people find you?
I am NANNETTESHOR@gmail.com or on 106.1 and Monday mornings at 6 a.m. And I am hopeful because there's so many amazing people here who we didn't get to learn enough about that we're going to have to do another one of these.
Another one. That's what okay, so on the mic with Mike, we'd like to thank you guys for coming in. Very quickly, if you ever have any needs for videography, photography, Emmanuel, DB Arcade, make sure you check them out. Al Green is on the Wheels of Steel. And you are Positive Noise Media. All right, make sure you check them out if you ever have any needs for that. On the mic with Mike, Nanette Shore.